This is the Badger247 podcast with your host, Evan Flood.
38-0. Wisconsin takes care of business over Illinois State in their season opener. If you came here looking for a recap of that game or a Washington State preview for Saturday, I apologize. I'm trying to pump this one out as soon as possible. I have an interview with Daniel Freitag, highly touted 2024 point guard. Wanted to pump that out before it became old news. And I had the wife's birthday party on Sunday and haven't had a chance to rewatch the Illinois State game on the TV broadcast and kind of pick up anything I might have missed on game day. So I'll pump that one out in the next day or two and kind of give some thoughts about that win, as well as look ahead to a big non-conference matchup with the Cougars. I know most of you know who Daniel Freitag is, but for those who don't, big priority recruit for Wisconsin in the 2024 class. Not ranked by 247 Sports or the 247 Sports composite, but he's a legit top 50, top 75 prospect at worst. Offers from Baylor, Minnesota, Iowa, Iowa State, and of course Wisconsin, to name a few. And that offer list is only going to get bigger over the next year. He is the real deal. Have seen him on a national level. There aren't many point guards, I think, that bring more to the table than Freitag across the country. Saturday was a little bit of a twist for him, though. He was not only on a basketball unofficial visit, but a football unofficial visit as well. Wisconsin's gotten involved with Dan on the football side of things since June. He came to Wisconsin's basketball camp, but had a chance to, I believe, speak with offensive coordinator Bobby Ingram. There was nothing really the staff could do in terms of the football side of things at the time because it was a dead period, so they couldn't take him around and show him the facilities, if I'm not mistaken. Dan also has a football offer from Minnesota as well, so we'll see how the Gophers are going about that and how the Badgers are going about it as well. Maybe we got a little Paul Christ, Greg Gard battle brewing. It's kind of like that a little bit. If you remember Jake Ratzloff, a freshman linebacker for Wisconsin, he was a Minnesota hockey recruit, also had a football offer from the Gophers. Wisconsin hockey offered him. Wisconsin football ended up getting him, obviously. Freitag's just a unique talent. Number one ranked football player in the state in his class. Number one ranked basketball player in his class in the state of Minnesota. Dan's going to come on to talk about the dynamic of being recruited in separate sports. He's going to recap his Wisconsin visit, and we'll see if he's leaning any certain way at this point or where things stand among the offers he does have. So with that, here's our interview with 2024 point guard and wide receiver Daniel Freitag. So how did this visit just play out in terms of balancing football and basketball? Did you spend time with both staffs and get to see both facilities, or how did they just kind of do it?
It was a lot more basketball than expected. I didn't really get to do too much with the football squad, but it's all good. I know we got time, but I was with the basketball squad majority of the time.
Okay. What did you get to experience from the football side of things?
Really nothing. I guess it was just, you could say it was just the basketball this time around.
Was that different than what you were expecting, or how did this visit just come about then with the football program, or was it more that Greg Gard set it up and the football program kind of tried to piggyback on it, or how did that just kind of play out?
Well, I got the word that I could come by, I wouldn't say last minute, but with just a short amount of time, and my parents couldn't come by, so I just came with the McAndrews, and, I was with them, so, of course I was going to go wherever they went, and so we just stuck with basketball for that visit.
What has been going on between you and the football staff since camp? I know offensive coordinator Bobby Ingram was kind of watching you a little bit, just kind of getting a feel for you. Have they contacted you since September 1st, or what's just been going on between you and the Wisconsin football program so far?
Yeah, last time I was there, I had a good conversation with him and exchanged phone numbers, stuff like that. And then the Wisconsin receivers coach, I think it's Whitted, maybe. I could be wrong, but yeah, he's texted me, and we had a little bit of communication there, but it's been pretty calm, So, I mean, it's smooth though.
Getting a feel for just the game day environment at Camp Randall, what were kind of your overall impressions of that?
Oh, it was awesome. Of course, jump around was awesome. I liked the attendance. I saw the student section filling up like 45 minutes before the game, and it was just full. Like I blinked and it was full. It was a crazy atmosphere. I really enjoyed my time there.
You've been a basketball target for Wisconsin for so long. What do you kind of know about the football program, and what would be your interest like in them if they were to make a play for you as well?
I would love that. I would love to have the option of either sport at Wisconsin. So I know the Minnesota native Caden Johnson, and I don't know too much about the team itself, although I look forward to knowing more about them if they let me have the chance.
What kind of happened in your recruitment? I remember talking to you early, maybe a year or so ago. There was a time it felt like you thought like you might not even play football. What sort of change that's, all of a sudden made things seem like a 50-50 split for you, and probably put some stress on you in terms of your recruitment as well?
I just think it was that I wasn't really recruited for football a year ago, so of course it was just all basketball, no football, and getting hurt definitely didn't help my thought process on football. But once I got back healthy and started throwing the football around, I realized I love it, and I just wanted to come back and play again. And then once I started being recruited for it, it's kind of like I do like football a lot more than I thought I did, because those thoughts were kind of creeping into my head about I have no future in football, so I was just thinking of giving it up. But obviously that's not the case. So
how are you going about this long term? I mean, it's hard enough to just pick a school in one sport, but when you throw in another sport, there's so many different factors in terms of, it's more coaching staffs you got to look at. Trying to think how I want to put it. But obviously, do you pick, I guess, do you pick by the sport and then go from there? Or, do you kind of pick what you're most comfortable in? Or how do you kind of have a feel for how you want to go about it?
Yeah, see, that's a great question. I tell people a lot, it's hard to compare the two. And I don't think I would, choose the sport and then the school. I think I would, just weigh all of the options at once and then choose what was best, with opportunity, of course. So, where do I think I could play the most? Where could I get the most opportunity to put, my talents on display and hopefully get to the next level? But yeah, it's definitely hard to not only choose a school but choose a sport as well.
So obviously you got another year plus left, or 2 years, I guess, for both sports. Before you technically have to sign the dotted line. But could you see a scenario, sitting down at the kitchen table where, my top two options are football at program A and basketball at program B?
That absolutely could happen.
I remember at camp, Kravenhoff, assistant coach Joe Kravenhoff, kind of had a message for you. I think he said, if I heard right, you're not playing football, but if you do, you're playing here. What's just Wisconsin's basketball staff, message been to you, since football has kind of come to the forefront of your recruitment, and how have they kind of gone about it, either maybe helping the football program, or are they just kind of trying to keep the football program away from you, or what kind of talks have you just kind of had with them?
They've been super supportive, especially for the football. Coach Kravenhoff introduced me to, the offense coordinator, and, kind of got me connected in a sense. And then, Coach Gard tells me all the time that he loves that I play football. And, I really get the vibe that they hope I end up at Wisconsin, regardless of which sport. But, of course, they're biased towards the basketball team.
It's kind of a overused adage at Wisconsin by, during their games when it's, on TV, the broadcasters always bring up the number of point guards they've had that played football. Demetric Trice, Brad Davison, I shouldn't say point guards, but guards, Johnny Davis too. You touched on it a little bit, but what is Wisconsin like about the fact that you play football too, and how do they think that could apply to the basketball court for you?
They talk about, the toughness and physicality that you have to play football, and how it kind of gives you an edge for basketball. But, they say that there's just so much time, and if they could go back and play high school football, they would. And it's just such an experience that they would hate for somebody to miss out on it just to focus on one sport. But, yeah, just super supportive guys when it comes to the football aspect.
So meeting with Coach Gard and Coach Krabenhoft again face-to-face, what was just kind of their message during the visit, and what did they want to drive home to you?
Really just, the reminder that, they want me, and we did a lot more talk about, stuff besides basketball, and it's itching that way, and it has been recently. So, we talked about the academic side of it, meeting strength and conditioning coaches and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's getting a lot more, familiar with just things that would happen at Wisconsin outside of basketball.
What's your relationship just like with those two guys, and what have you thought about them as coaches and people as you've gotten to know them over the last year or so?
I've really enjoyed, the both of them. Since the first day I met them, I remember Coach Gard approached me, the first time where I got the offer, and that was super cool. And ever since then, me and him have been, very cool. I feel very open. He's always, wishing me the best for football. And they said that they're going to come out to a game and stuff like that. So I feel very connected with them. And I think that we have a really good relationship.
You're still the only point guard they've offered in 2024, which can sometimes be a dangerous game. Obviously, it sends a message, hey, you're our guy, but at the same time that they've kind of got all the eggs in your basket. What do they just like about you, and what do they think the future could hold for you that, they're kind of willing to push all their chips into the pot, at least for now?
They've been coaching for a long time, and they mentioned that, and they said that, I remind them of, what they want from their point guard, and, they want me, and I'm their guy, quote unquote. And, Chucky will be kind of on his way out as I would be on my way in. So, I definitely see that they're, so-called putting all their eggs in, my basket. And I think them taking that risk definitely, means something, or means a lot, actually. So, I could tell that I'm very important to them.
So I got to ask about the game over the summer against Phenom University, where a lot of schools changed their plans to fly back into Kansas City and watch that one. Specifically Minnesota and Wisconsin brought, I think, their entire staffs there, and felt like 80% of their recruiting board was in that game. Going up against, the likes of Con Knipple, Nick Janowski, what did you just kind of think of them as players? And I know you guys came out on the short end of the stick, but, was that fun just kind of having a border battle type game with, guys with similar offer lists? You're all kind of being recruited by the same schools too?
Yeah, it definitely would have been a lot more enjoyable had it been kind of a better game. I don't know really what our game plan was, because we didn't play the basketball we had been playing all tournament, but really all season we kind of shied away from it because it was a bigger game, and I ended up actually kind of getting pulled from that game way early for, in my opinion, no reason. But those are a big group of guys. Nick, I like how he plays the game. He didn't feel rushed. He's a very good player, I could just tell. And then Khan, it was super hard to guard him, super versatile scorer and stuff like that. But, yeah, I definitely think that matchup should have went better for sure. But
And then one of your AAU teammates, Jackson McAndrew, came away with a Wisconsin offer. Another one, Jack Robinson, already has the Wisconsin offer. How much do you guys – I know these things rarely come to fruition, but how much do you guys talk about teaming up, together or playing together in college, or do you kind of keep your recruitment separate, even though you guys do tend to go on the same visits at times?
Yeah, me and Jackson go on the same visits at times. Kind of with a purpose. That's a good friend of mine. We're pretty close, and me and him definitely talk about it quite a bit. A lot more than me and Jack Robinson do. I think, yeah, I mean, we've definitely had conversations about teaming up, Jackson and I, but we talk about it a lot less, Jack Robinson and I.
Looking at your recruitment as a whole, where are you kind of at with things? Do you have some of your offers sticking out to you right now, or where do things just kind of stand with that list?
I think I'd have a better, I don't know, no, towards the end of the football season. I can't really say too much now.
What all schools have been showing interest here going into your, I guess, the start of your junior season for football? I'm talking basketball. What schools are showing interest but haven't offered?
You said football, correct?
Basketball.
Oh, basketball. Virginia we've been in contact quite a bit recently, and then Purdue, it's shied a little bit recently, but we've been in contact. Kansas, we've been in constant contact for a while now since like EYBL session 2. So yeah, they're just those schools at the moment.
And then for football, besides Wisconsin, who else have you started to pick up interest from?
NDSU has hit me up quite a bit, and then Iowa State. Of course, I went on a visit there I believe last year. Wisconsin, obviously, Minnesota, they offered, of course. So them, and then Baylor. I'd say it's just those schools at the moment.
You almost don't see it anymore the way you used to, but have any schools pitched both sports to you as a package, or is that even something you're interested in trying to do?
Yeah, I think my opinion changes on it, so often, but Minnesota talks about it quite a bit. PJ Fleck talks to me about he doesn't care which sport I choose as long as it's the Gophers, and Coach Thorson talks about it quite a bit where, he says if I want to play both, I can play both. So, it definitely makes it a harder decision where, I could go and play one sport at one place, but I could go play two sports at another, so it's definitely something to think about when they put the bug in my ear.
What's just going to be most important to you, do you think, when picking a school and a football or basketball program? Obviously, you're going to have to make concessions and give a lot of things up, assuming you don't play both. What do you think it'll come down to for you in the end?
I definitely, can kind of tell. I don't know. I can kind of see through the fake. So I definitely, I want to choose a school that is real, and I can tell that they're real to me, and they have, genuine interest in me, and that, stuff doesn't feel copy and pasted to every recruit and stuff like that. So not only that, the opportunity. So, wherever I'll play and, get the best opportunity to really, strive is kind of where I would choose to go.
And then before I let you go, what do you want Wisconsin fans to just know about Jack Janicki and what they're getting there? I know you know him a little bit.
They're getting a confident guy. I noticed that when I was at the camp. They're getting a confident guy. He's super cool. I think the players will like him a ton. So, yeah, I'd look forward to watching him play if I were I am a Wisconsin fan, but if I were a Wisconsin fan.
Thanks to Dan for hopping on and giving us some of his time. I know he's insanely busy in the middle of his football season, so we definitely appreciate it. I was going to wrap up the podcast right there, and then it hit me. I owe you guys a mailbag. I said I was going to run it Friday, I think, and completely forgot about it. So normally I won't do this just because I don't know how long people want to sit around and wait for me to answer questions, especially if they're not theirs. But I will answer some of those now just to make this a little bit longer and give you guys a little more bang for your buck in terms of time here. The first question I'll get to, where does Wisconsin stand with their 2024 quarterback offers? The Badgers have made 5 scholarship offers already in 2024. Two of them are verbally committed to other schools. Dante Reno to South Carolina, CJ Carr to Notre Dame, who I think Wisconsin was a lot closer to getting than people may think. Might have been a maybe not close number 2, but certainly I think number 2 no worse than 3 on what was a very loaded offer list. The one guy I think Wisconsin can get is Mabry Matower out of the Woodlands, Texas. He's got some connections to the Badgers, not anything major, but one of his former classmates plays softball for the women's team. Obviously, I didn't really need to specify that, but for the UW women's team. So he's heard some good things about the Badgers. Big arm, pro-style kid, kind of fits the system. I'm not really sure where Wisconsin stands on his list right now, but I know he's definitely interested, and that's a visit that could happen, if not this season, then an official over the summer. But he does have a good offer list, and I think he's still kind of sorting through everything and not really sure who his favorites are yet. Look at Arkansas, Baylor, Florida, LSU, Miami, North Carolina, Ole Miss. So he's got some good options closer to home. It's not necessarily a sure thing that Wisconsin makes a top 5 for him, but I think they definitely do have his attention early on. Question number 2, which player has generated the most off-season hype but hasn't come to fruition? That's an easy one. That's Isaiah Greenway. I don't know if it was necessarily program insiders sparking that one. And let's just face it, a lot of that was generated by me and others from watching him in practice. I'm telling you, though, he had some great moments in fall camp and spring ball that, you just were wowed by what he could do at his size. I got to check on him in Northern Illinois and see if maybe he bounced back. But you got to remember, the guy did win a job in a very good outside linebacker room as a redshirt sophomore. So at one point, these coaches really believed in him too. Had the broken hand or wrist, I think it was, in week 1 against South Florida. Had a sack in that game, if I remember correctly. But I think that's the one that, really burned me the most was Isaiah Greenway. But if he gets a 10-sack season at NIU, I am vindicated. Let me put that out there right now. Number 3, do you expect Nolan Winter to commit to Minnesota? I'm still picking the Gophers. This one's a tough one for me because I don't know if I had some bad intel, but I was told, I think in late June, early July, that, it was pretty much a done deal for them. I talked to a number of people who I trust since who sort of disputed that, and that's just not Wisconsin people either. That's people on the other side of the border as well. He didn't need to take that official to Wisconsin in August. He's obviously been to Madison a handful of times. But at the same time, he didn't need to take another official to Minnesota too. So I do think he's struggling with him. This one kind of reminds me of Billy Schrath in the last cycle and Carson Hinsman. Both in-state guys for Wisconsin. They went elsewhere, not saying that's what Winter's doing, but they had internal struggles with themselves about what their head wanted and what their heart wanted. They were obviously both huge Badger fans growing up. Hinsman more so than Schrath. Madison's where their heart was. Head kind of tells them, hey, I want to compete for national championships on a consistent basis. Both Ohio State and Notre Dame, obviously very good offensive line programs as well. I can see Winter going through that same battle with himself. He obviously has a skill set that fits Wisconsin to a T. The Badgers have had so many guys just like him and been able to develop sort of raw, lanky post players in the Greg Gard, Bo Ryan era. But Dad went to Minnesota. Dad played for the Gophers. He obviously has that love for that program. That maroon and gold just means something different to him. So I'm kind of torn on it as well. I'm still leaning with my pick to Minnesota, but I'm not going to be shocked if Wisconsin's able to sneak this one out. And that's just a hunch on the fact that this has gone longer than I think a lot of people have expected. I know Stanford's technically in the top 3, but from everything I'm told, this has been a Wisconsin-Minnesota battle from the jump. It shouldn't have taken this long to decide between the two, unless you really are that conflicted between the two programs. Lastly, getting some questions about the reviews from the France trip in terms of individual players who jumped out. I know some people are a little worried about the stat line for Max Klesman. I don't think Wisconsin, from what I heard, is that worried, and they know what they have in some of the older, more experienced guys. So they were playing them spot minutes in a lot of ways, especially Chucky Hepburn. I think there were a lot of positives, though, on an individual basis. Stephen Crowell, I heard, looked really good. I saw him after Wisconsin's advanced camp in June, and you can definitely tell there's some good weight been put on his frame, and he obviously needed it. Sounds like that's allowed him to play a little stronger around the rim, play through contact more. Obviously in the Big Ten, facing some of those guys that he's going to see, it won't be as bad as it was last year, but Zach Edey, he's got to find ways to keep these guys away from the rim and not let them set up shop, with 2 feet in the paint all the time. Talked to assistant coach Joe Krabinoff for an interview. He felt pretty good about what Chris Hodges did, and Wisconsin probably going to need him because they did not get a backup center. They asked a couple guys to enroll early in the 2023 class and get them here this season. That didn't happen. Didn't get anything in the transfer portal like they wanted. So Chris Hodges is going to have to probably play somewhat of a role, maybe like what Vito Brown did in the Frank Kaminsky years. Just come in for a couple minutes, make sure Stephen Crowell gets a breather, and try and give up some fouls. Try and use that length and frame to protect the rim as best you can. And I don't know where he is in terms of being a true rotation player, but it sounds like the Badgers were very encouraged by what he was able to do, and they definitely weren't expecting him to give the boost that he did. The last guy I think that really surprised the staff was Connor Essegian, and you can probably tell by the box score that was the case. True freshman, first taste of college basketball. Sounds like he didn't show a whole lot of deer in the headlights look. I shouldn't say college basketball. He's going up against pros. But it sounds like he wasn't fazed by that whatsoever. Very natural as a scorer. Smooth and decisive when he looks to attack and put the ball on the deck. Like most freshmen, defense is going to be his big thing. How quick can you master the rules? How quick can you be trusted on that end of the floor? Especially as a true freshman when you're going to be giving up a lot of strength to some of these seasoned veterans. I will let you guys go and allow you to enjoy the rest of your week. I will try and get one. I don't know if I just want to pump it out Wednesday or just wait till we get closer to Washington State. But there will be one more this week. As I said, I'm going to try and aim for 2 or 3 shows a week. Hopefully next time we're in the system so you don't have to go to YouTube and sit on your laptop or keep your phone browser open to listen to this, and then you can get it right from Apple, Google, wherever. But I make no promises on that, mostly because I have no idea what's going on right now. Next time we got to talk Graham Mertz. I had some takes. Some of you don't believe me. I'm sticking to my guns on that one. I'll see you next time.